Is the Kenwood TH-D75 worth the approximately $750 price tag that they're getting for this radio? Well, let me walk you through the features of this radio so you can decide for yourself. This is Tim Tucker, AE6LX from worldwidedx.com, and this is a little review of everything that this radio has going for it. The Kenwood TH-D75 might be the most complete 2-meter 440 and 220 VHF-UHF radio on the market today, whether it's mobile, handheld, or really of any kind. And why do I say that? It's because of the feature set of this radio. We'll start with some of the basics. I already mentioned 2-meter 220 440 for transmit and receive. The radio also has an SD card. We'll talk more about the capabilities of the SD card. This is very similar to its predecessor, the TH-D74, as far as what the capabilities it offers. We'll talk more about that. New to this radio is the USB-C. Unlike some of the other radios on the market, this USB-C interface can be used both to power the radio, charge the radio, and also to program the radio. But it also acts as an interface for the various other features such as the GPS, the TNC, D-Star, and some other stuff which we'll cover in a minute. This radio has a wide receive range. So it has AM broadcast, which I'm showing here using the internal bar antenna. Now, the AM broadcast is not quite as good as some of the lesser expensive. I have a $14 AM pocket broadcast radio I got off of Amazon, which works better than the AM broadcast reception in here, but it still has the feature in it, and it works. And as you can see, as I go through the different bands, I have every major ham band. You can see here, lower sideband. I can receive lower sideband, upper sideband, AM, FM, CW, every major mode. So as I scroll through, you can see there's 6 meters. FM broadcast, so you can see the wide FM, so you can listen to FM radio, broadcast FM radio. This is the air band, AM air band, so if you want to listen to local air traffic. Here's a 2 meters, 220, 440, all the way up to over 500 megahertz. So this has a very, very wide receive range, much more than most other radios on the market. In addition, as I said, it's all modes, so AM, FM, sideband, wide FM, CW, basically an all-mode pocket receiver for everything from shortwave to ham bands to aircraft to you name it, you can pretty much receive it on this radio. Okay, as you can see, it has a GPS built in. I've got it turned on and displayed here. If we go in, look at the GPS settings, in addition to basic position, it's got a feature where you can send the GPS information out to a PC. You can do basic GPS tracking. So as you move around, track waypoints, it'll track it and it will save it on this SD card if that's what you want to do, so that you can then import it to some type of application. If I go into the GPS position menu, you can see a little more information here. 3 screens. I'm not moving right now, so it's not tracking my direction or the distance from where I started, but obviously that's something you can turn on and do. And then this shows all the different satellites that it's receiving. Like most VHF-UHF radios on the market, this radio is a dual band. So in this example, I'm showing receiving on both 2 meters and 440. You can do VFO on one band, memory on the other. The other band could be not just VHF, UHF, but it could be one of those other bands that we talked about earlier. One of the neat features that you can do for when it's in dual band mode is set the audio balance between the A band and B band, and you can make the A band louder, the B band louder, keep it balanced. This is very, very useful. I use this all the time. I use this radio as a NASCAR scanner, where I will, since I go to racing a lot, NASCAR races, I'll listen to the broadcast of the race on one band, and I'll listen to an individual car on the other. And I'll keep the spotter frequency a little bit softer than the broadcast frequency, so I can hear what's going on, but also have a little bit of insight into the car that I want to listen to. While we're on this menu on the audio, you can see there's a receive EQ, a transmit EQ for both FM and narrow FM, also for digital. This is for D-Star. So if I were to go in here, I can turn this on and off if I want to use the receive, transmit, or digital EQ. And here in the next menu, I can set the level. So here is a 4-band transmit equalizer to tailor the audio to meet your needs. Whoops, let's go back in there. Same thing on the transmit side, receive side, and then of course various functions about beep, voice guidance, things like that. I have a blind ham friend. He calls himself a Blinky, and when we talk about Blinky-friendly radios, this thing has everything from voice guidance for all the menus, the speed. You can speed up the readout, speed up the readout, slow it down. You can turn on and off the readout for just the regular basic menu features. You can also do that for both the APRS and the D-Star features. And speaking of the visually impaired settings, if you're ever confused or don't know what menu you're on or what the screen says, when you have those features turned on, you can just tap the power button and it'll read out the screen to you. I tried this for a couple of days just on its own to see if I could work the radio, and it works unbelievably well. So as you know, this is also a D-Star radio, so we can turn on D-Star on both the A or B band. One of the new features of this radio over the previous TH-D74 is that it can do dual receive for both repeaters and digital voice simplex on both VFOs. In this case, I'm showing repeater mode on this one, and it's the same as the other radio. You can simply punch in the repeaters you want. It's a very simple radio to use for D-Star. There's also a new hotspot list feature. So in the old radio, you would have to, if you're using a hotspot, you would have to put it in as your own personal repeater. Now you can classify it as a hotspot. Looking at some more of the D-Star features, this is a feature that I don't know if it exists in any other radio, which is the DV gateway mode. I have another video, which I've already posted, but essentially it lets you use your phone or tablet or PC as the gateway. So you put this into gateway mode. I'm not going to do that right now, but you can see it on off. Put it into terminal mode, and then you use an application like Blue DV for Android or something else, and then it leverages the Bluetooth that's in the radio to your phone or tablet or a PC, and that application is the gateway. And then you just use your radio just as if you were talking to your hotspot or a repeater, but it leverages this Bluetooth mode, or you can use it via the USB interface if you want a cable. So that's pretty cool. No hotspot needed, just use your phone. Just like the TH-D74 before it, it has full APRS capabilities. We're not going to go into all of them, but this is a very complete APRS radio. One of the new features of this radio is it has a built-in digipeater. So if you're out in the boonies and you have a bunch of guys, say you're out hunting or 4x4ing or whatever, and they all have APRS capabilities, either radios or devices built into their vehicles or on their person. This device can be hooked up to a nice high gain antenna or an amplifier or something, and act as the digipeater to give you much wider coverage. And of course, if you're thinking about digipeaters, one of their features that you might consider using with the digipeater capability is under this interface menu, you can turn on a PC interface through either Bluetooth or USB to send the digipeater information out to a PC application, which can then be connected to the internet or whatever. All right, while we're talking about the interface options, let's go through that. So as a built-in TNC, the TNC obviously is used with APRS, but you can use this for digital modes. I have successfully used this KISS TNC with the WinLink email system to send emails and texts over VHF from my handheld, from my phone, over the airways 2 meter to other WinLink stations. That's pretty cool. You can do this via Bluetooth or USB. Same thing with DV and digital, the digital stuff. If you want to send this out to a PC for the various D-Star applications, it can do it via USB or Bluetooth. GPS can be sent out via Bluetooth or USB. So the interface capabilities of this radio using either Bluetooth or the USB-C is amazing. Like the TH-D74 before it, the built-in SDR card can be used to import and export configurations, memories, and things like that. You can store various configs for different locations, repeater lists, whatever. I only have a couple stored on this right now. One of the nice things is that with the software that Kenwood supplies, is if you have a bunch of repeater lists for the TH-D74 for different locations, there is a way to import those for the D75. I haven't done that yet, but I'm going to. The SD card can also be used to record incoming audio or transmissions of conversations. It can be used to track locations as you're moving around on the GPS. Obviously, we already said it could be used to import and export config files. So that's a pretty nice function that the SD card provides. All right, let's talk about the memories for a second. So this thing has a boatload of memories. I don't even remember how many it has, a lot. But one of the neat things you can do with the memories is you can group them. You see this little group thing feature right here. So I have these grouped into names that I give it. I call them favorites, 2 meter, 440, the Edison system, police, fire for scanning, FRS, marine, whatever. You can create group names for all your different memories and organize them that way. This is super handy. The other thing that's nice about this is the scanning feature. So in this case, if I want to scan all these police and fire frequencies I have loaded, look how fast that scans. The scanning feature in this radio is blazing. Now, I've played with and have used a lot of different radios in the market, and there are inexpensive radios who have almost every VHF, UHF radio today has a scanner functionality built in. They don't scan as fast as this radio. This is amazing how fast. Now, there's probably 100 or more local 440 memories stored in here. Now, I'm going to show you how fast it can scan through all of them. I have it muted, so it obviously picked up something there and there.
Only blew my mind. Anything you'd like to add tonight?
You get the point. Now, if you are in VFO mode, let's just say we want to scan 2 meters, I can just hold the VFO button. It'll just start scanning 2 meters according to the step value that I have programmed. The point of this is to show you how fast this scanner is. It is a very, very fast scanner for an amateur radio. A couple of other neat features: attenuator built in. For the folks that are tea hunters, you will find this useful. Or if you're in an area where it's just very, very strong signal, this attenuator works on all the different receive bands. In a high RF environment where you're getting intermod, that's a nice feature. Here's another one. Mic gain works pretty well. This radio, as we've talked about Bluetooth, it does work and work with a Bluetooth headset. So I use this with my motorcycle headset. It works fine. And I tailor the mic gain here according to just what works with the headset in my helmet. If you're a CW guy and you want to listen to CW on the various ham bands, you can even set the pitch. Just some general settings. There's a lot of display features, backlight control, how long it stays on for, timer. I have it set short. That's why I keep turning off while we're doing this video. Brightness. Right now I have it the black on white, or the white on black, I should say. You could reverse it to make it light colored. Power on messaging, and through the application you can set the power on graphic. You can see I did that here, right there. Turn the power on graphic. That's pretty cool. Go back in here and look at some of the display features. What do you want if you're only doing one band at a time, single band? What do you want it to display? The GPS, altitude, the date, demod mode, all kinds of stuff. Different types of meters, displays. Again, this is back to the background color. We already talked a little bit about these audio settings, the voice guidance, the beep. A lot of battery saving features. What do you want to turn on and off to save the battery? This is the Bluetooth pairing. Like I said, I've connected this to my phone with the Blue DV application to use my phone as a hotspot. It works great. I've connected it to another application on my phone to send and receive WinLink messages using the internal TNC over Bluetooth. That works great. You can program the side keys, the mic keys, all the different buttons. There's access codes, obviously date and time. Speed, distance, you want it in meters? Do you want it in miles? The altitude, do you want it in feet and inches, or do you want it in meters and millimeters? All the different settings for temperature, Fahrenheit or Celsius. How do you want the lat long displayed? You want to display grid square coordinates, so it'll do that too on the GPS. This is just basically the version information of the firmware that's on here. I will also note that I have modified this radio for transmit out of band. It's a simple modification. I'll put a link in the description to the post that shows you how to do that. Super simple. That will allow you to, if you have a reason to need to transmit out of band on 2 meter 220 440, you can do that as well. Ask the question, is this worth $750 or whatever the going price is at the time you're viewing this? That's an awful lot of features built into this radio. I can't answer that question for you. What I've told other people is, are you going to use all these features? Are you going to use D-Star? Are you going to use the TNC? Are you going to use APRS? Do you want possibly one of the best scanning radios, handheld radios on the market? All the flexibility with the different memory groups. Are you going to use the GPS features? Are you going to use the shortwave listening, the HF, the aircraft band? I really like the aircraft band. Listen to that. If you're going to use all these features, this is probably the only radio on the market, mobile or handheld or otherwise, that has all those features. If you're not going to use all those features, then you're better off not spending the money on a radio like this, obviously. But this is the cream of the crop radios that's on the market. The Bluetooth, the USB-C interface, the SD card interface, and all the other stuff I just mentioned. It's a pretty tough radio, IP55 rating, I believe it is, which is good for dust and like jet water. It's not going to survive underwater for very long, but it's going to survive getting wet. So if all those features are for you, then it's probably worth the price. Only you can make that decision. This has been Tim Tucker, AE6LX from worldwidedx.com. Hope you enjoyed the review of this radio.